Hey guys, my name is Joey and welcome to the Artist Coaching Podcast. Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to the Artist Coaching Podcast. This is episode 5 and I want to talk about how to get your music signed as an artist nowadays, because I get a lot of questions from you guys during my coaching sessions, during the podcast, during the live sessions on Facebook, and a lot of you just want to know how to get your music signed, because it's just a jungle out there, and I guess it feels like it's impossible for you to sign your music nowadays with the bigger labels. So I just wanted to give you a few tips from my side, like how do I think that your music gets signed in the best way possible. So first of all, I guess it's a point that when I tell it, you'll probably think like, okay, what the fuck, I already know this, but hey, here it is. Work hard. This is actually the one thing you really need to do, is work hard. You have to be on point of everything. You have to keep on pushing yourself to the maximum, get your music better, make your socials better, do things on the best way possible, and work hard every day. Work harder than the other person so you get noticed even faster than them. So it sounds like it's something you should already know. But the difference is, are you already doing it? That's the thing you should wonder. Are you already working as hard as possible? Are you already putting in as much hours as possible? Are you already making the best content possible? Are you already making the best music possible? If not so, work more. The second thing is find your own sound. I know this one is also pretty lame, but it's just true, you know? Like, labels aren't looking for someone that is copying someone else with their sound. They're looking for someone that has his own sound, something new, something fresh, something that isn't being released on any other labels, but it still sounds fresh enough to be the next big thing. So spend time searching for your own sound. Of course, it's okay to follow some trends and follow some hypes, but find your own way in that hype or in that trend and convert it to your own sound. So it's really important. I always did it by having a sample pack full of samples that I really love to use. Like once I made a kick, and when I know that kick was working really well in the club, I saved that kick, put it in my own sample pack. So for the next time when I started a new project, I always had one sample bank full of samples that I made myself and that I really, really liked and that I knew that worked well. So it doesn't cost you a lot of time to get your beats right, and you also have the same sound as always. So that's also something that could create your own sound. So that's also a tip: create your own sound, and try not to be the next Hardwell or the next Martin Garrix, because the world already has a new Hardwell and a Martin Garrix, and we're not looking for someone else that is copying them. So make sure to have your own sound. It's really, really important. The third thing is, really, you should put some time in network. You should get to know people. People need to know you. It's really, really, really important. I really can't be clear enough about this. I think in the music industry, about 50% of your career will be about network. If people don't know you, they don't know your music, and you don't get signed. So spend time in getting out there, getting to know people from labels, people from publishing companies, DJs, producers, singers, songwriters, doesn't really matter. As long as they're in the music industry, try to know them and make sure they know you. It's the best thing out there, because if you want to get your music signed, it's the best way to get into a label is when you know someone. So try to visit things like Amsterdam Dance Event or Dance Fair or those kind of things where all the people from the industry are together. Make sure that you are there and you shake hands and say, "Hi, I'm Joey. I'm making music. Please listen to it. I have it here. This is my socials. Check me out, please." It's the best thing out there. And the fourth thing actually is create opportunities. I'll explain to you what I mean with that. Create opportunities. By sitting in the studio all day, that's not creating opportunities in the best way possible. I get it that you make a lot of music and that you do a lot of time in the studio and you work hard, but a lot of people forget that if that music doesn't get out there, you won't grow as an artist, because your name doesn't get bigger, your brand doesn't get bigger. So you need to make sure that you put content out there, and content could be your tracks, could be on your socials, could be a video, could be a vlog, could be a blog, could be a podcast. Doesn't really matter which one you choose, as long as it's content and as long as you put things out there. Because as long as you stay in the studio, no one will actually notice you because you don't exist for them online, as long as you don't put anything on there online. So you have to make sure that you start getting out content. As long as it's stuff that relates to your brand as an artist, it's just important. Like if you make a lot of music all day long, all week long, but you don't release a lot of music, it's not that weird that people don't know you because the track is still on your computer. So it's really important that you need to start releasing that material. And one of those ways is to sign it with a record label. But that's the thing what we're talking about now, because it's really hard nowadays. So what are the things you could do as an artist to get your music out there and to spread your chances? In my opinion, the best way to start, if you already try to get signed and it doesn't work, the best way to start is just releasing it yourself. You have a lot of platforms nowadays where you can release your music yourself. I guess it's a platform called TuneCore, and I guess there's a lot more of where that came from. But those companies make sure that your tracks are getting signed. Actually, it's actually kind of the same, I think. Your track will appear on Spotify, iTunes, Beatport, all the platforms you need to be. And you will get 100% out of the sales. So it's actually a win-win. The only thing you have to do is you have to pay like, I guess it was $10 per track. So that's not the biggest investment, but your track will be out there. Your track will be on Spotify. There will be a lot of chances for you to be featured on playlists on Spotify. So you should put in the work when you have a track finished. Try to connect yourself with TuneCore or another company that releases it and get your tracks on Spotify, iTunes, Beatport. And after that, try to arrange some things that, let's say, a people who owns a playlist on Spotify, that he puts your track in his playlist. Try to be active on that, like find people on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Try to go on Spotify, search for your favorite playlist, find out who are the owners of the playlist. Find those owners on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, doesn't really matter. Send them a DM and just say like, talk to them. Just talk to them and say like, hey, I really like your playlist. I really like your sound. I'm an artist myself. Maybe you can have a listen. My track just got released. Would mean the world to me if you add my track to the playlist. Just put in the work, create a network, get to know people. And maybe that guy would put your track in his playlist and you will reach like 100,000 other people. So your track gets out there. People will learn to know you. People will find you on social media if they really like the track. And that's actually how you get things started. So I guess the main thing here is to get started, you just have to put in the work and create opportunities, like finding people that can mean something for you and your career. And you have to get started with getting your music out there. And if you tried to release your music on a label, but nobody replied or nobody was interested, then you're gonna have to do it yourself by putting it on Spotify and iTunes through platforms as TuneCore. From that moment on, your name, your artist name, your brand name will be out there, and things will start to roll. Maybe someone from, let's say, South Africa will find you and think like, hey, this is a cool record. I will license this on my own label and release it for only South Africa. It could be a possibility. It happened to me actually when I just started as an artist. So as long as you're not creating opportunities, things will not happen. So I really recommend you to start doing things and release your music, putting it out on TuneCore and stuff. Just create opportunities. Make sure people can listen to your music wherever, whenever they want, and make sure to put it out on as much places as possible, because then you have a bigger reach than normal. You can also do things like free remixes, like offer people to do a remix and don't charge anything for it. Just make sure that's a really cool remix and then you give it away for free, or you make sure that it gets released but you don't get anything in return. Doesn't really matter, because it's like an investment for you in your career, in your artist brand. So it's really important to start doing things like this. One thing you could also do is do collaborations. contact people from who you really like the music. Contact them on Instagram or on like Snapchat or whatsoever. Send them a direct message. Say like, hey dude, I really like your music. Here's a few tracks of mine. I hope if you like it too, maybe we can do a collaboration one time. And the interesting thing about a collaboration is when you do a collaboration with another artist, the people who will follow him will also get to know your name. So if you get a track out there, the next time they will listen to your track as well. So you will create a bigger reach also by doing collaborations. And eventually, I think when you start releasing music on your own and start making music and releasing it through TuneCore on Spotify, on iTunes, make sure that it gets featured on playlists, make sure you do a few free remixes, make sure you do a few collaborations, make sure that your social media has a lot of cool content on it. Eventually, your brand and your artist name will grow. And believe me, when it's big enough, labels will start noticing you. The minute your brand gets bigger and your music is good, labels will start noticing you and you will get signed eventually. So maybe it will take a few months, maybe it will take a few years, maybe it will take a few days. You really can't say how long it will take. In my case, it took me like a year. But as long as you start putting content out there and start putting your music out there, you start creating opportunities and start creating possibilities for people to find you. And if a label finds one of your tracks and he really likes it, he will probably contact you. It's like, hey, do you have new music? Because we're looking for new guys. So the thing here is start working, create opportunities, and make sure that you will be big enough so labels will find you. And just make sure that the music is really good because, of course, that's the most important thing in the end. But you have to, if your music is really good, make sure that it's out there and people can find it. Because as long as it's on your computer, nobody will find it and your brand doesn't get bigger. So I hope you can do something useful with these tips. It helped me at the time and I hope it will help you too. So make sure to follow me on the socials. If you like this, I will do more of these free tips and I will speak to other guys from the scene who give you tips about music and DJing and all that stuff. Make sure to find me on socials. It's all at JoeySuki actually. At JoeySuki on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, doesn't really matter. If you have a question regarding this podcast or something else, don't hesitate to contact me by sending a DM or emailing me or whatsoever. I will try to get back to you as soon as possible, but I will definitely give you an answer. So yeah, thanks for listening again and see you next time.